When you were a kid, the longest part of the year was between 4 a.m. when you woke up for Christmas and whenever your parents finally got out of bed. I want to start this episode off by saying Merry Christmas to everybody. This is a very special Christmas episode. I went to some extra trouble to record this a day early. I'm actually recording this in my childhood bedroom, which is crazy. I'm home for the Christmas holidays. I'm recording this in my bedroom from when I was a teenager. And just like Christmas, the room has changed. It's still the same, but something's changed. I don't know if it's me. I don't know if it's the world outside. It's the same, but it's a little different. And as an adult, that's exactly what Christmas is like. It's kind of the same, but it's also a whole lot different than what you remember when you were a kid. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. We're talking about 4 a.m. wake ups, sneaking out to see the tree, the fear that Santa hadn't brought you what you want. We're talking about just that magic and that excitement. And I want to share what I think is the funniest Christmas story that my family's ever known. Even though a couple family members aren't going to be super excited I'm telling it, hey, it's all in good fun and it's all in the past. So this is going to be a fun, very special Christmas episode coming at you from my old childhood bedroom. Let's go. Now, it's Christmas. I'm recording this on December 23rd. So really, we're still a little bit ahead, but this episode is going to air on Christmas. And I just cannot see myself being so excited on Christmas morning that I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m. and wait for the rest of my family to get up. I just don't see that happening. But when you were a kid, that was the standard. And there was no alarm clock. Maybe your sibling, if you had siblings, your sibling might have come into the room or you would have gone into theirs and they were already awake, Psst, hey, are you awake? And your siblings just lying in bed with their eyes open, yes. Just fighting that temptation to go out and look at the Christmas tree and just trying to be quiet and stuff like that. But do you remember how amazing it was when you would sneak out of your room so quietly? And back then there was that fear, that nervous anticipation that maybe Santa hadn't actually come, right? It's kind of funny, back then it was always a huge relief when you saw presents under the tree. You would sneak out almost preparing for the worst. Just what if there's nothing? What if I wasn't good enough? What if it's coal? And you would just walk out there and you would see the lights on the tree and all these beautifully wrapped presents underneath. And it's just that wonderful feeling of excitement that I'm sorry, but as an adult, it wouldn't matter how many presents are there. I don't want to say I wouldn't care, but I could look at him yeah, that's a lot of presents. Wow. But it would not be that over the top, unbridled enthusiasm, just sheer joy that you felt when you were a kid. And I miss that. I don't think I've actually felt that since I was a kid. I think the last time I felt that as an adult was when I pitched a TV show to a producer one time. And the guy was like, I love your idea. We're going to make your show. And I was like, woo! That was the last time I felt that kind of amazing excitement. Short story long, the show, that guy didn't wind up making the show. But still, that was the last time I got so excited where it was even close, a fraction close to what I used to feel on Christmas morning. And I bet you're kind of the same. You're probably not too different from me. I think it's that universal kid thing to just be so excited on Christmas morning. And what was up with their parents back then? I remember not being able to understand at all how my parents could lie there in bed and just go away. It's 4 a.m. And you're yeah, no, it's actually 4:05. Let's get going here. Daylight's burning. And your parents are just go, come back at 7. And you're 7, that's 3 hours. 3 hours to a kid is you might as well have told them to come back a week later. Kid time works differently than adult time. And those 3 hours between when you got up and your parents were willing to actually get out of bed, that was the longest stretch of time in your entire life. There was no time longer than that. Not even church on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve service, that was long. And that was an hour. And if my church was awesome, we used to get goodie bags at the end of it. But still, even that hour, that agonizing hour on Christmas Eve was nothing compared to that stretch on Christmas morning. And I want to pause this for a second. I want I want to share this story. I've been meaning to share this for a while and I forgot last episode. So I grew up going to church and we always went to church all year. And so we always went on Christmas Eve. And I went to like, it had actually been like German people, Germans had built the church. My Oma and Opa, they were German, right? So they were part of the founding members of that church that was built when they came over from Germany after World War II. And there was a kind of a split. There was like the German service and the English service, and like they got along, and everyone was very friendly and lovely people and stuff like that. But there was always like a bit of a thing on Christmas Eve where we would start the Christmas service off by singing Christmas carols. Like you would get there maybe like half an hour early, and just for the fun of it, we would sing carols, Christmas carols, and people would shout out whatever they wanted. And so all the English people would be like, naming like the popular Christmas carols that everyone knew. They'd be like, "Oh, Silent Night," and the pastor would be like, "Okay, okay." And then, "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," and the pastor was like, "Yeah, okay." And I remember this one German lady was like, "Gott ist in das Himmel hoch," and the pastor's like, "Yes, yes, a classic, of course." That was always hilarious to me. I always remember that, just like the disdain for the English carols and this some odd German ones that never heard of, but apparently the Germans had. And hey, that was a great song, apparently. All right. So anyway, Christmas Eve was a long time. Christmas morning, even longer. And it's funny, like now that I'm an adult, and you're an adult most likely, now we get it. Like now you understand why your parents didn't want to get out of bed. Like I don't want to say they didn't care, but they didn't care. At least they didn't care the way you cared, because like they already knew everything, right? They knew what they got you. They might have, I don't want to say they weren't too excited for what you got them, because like most of the time it was pretty like subpar, mediocre. Like I got you a pair of socks, or I don't know what I got my parents, like spatulas, wooden spoons, a magazine. I remember my dad wanted this Runner's World magazine, and we literally went to every store in town, even 7-Eleven, and they didn't have Runner's World, so I got him Walking. I got him this Walking magazine, and he looked at it. He's like, "Yeah, that's great." I think parents just kind of maybe get used to being disappointed on Christmas, and so like they don't have that same level of excitement. Whereas kids, it was rare to be disappointed. It happened, but if you were lucky, if you had people who were kind of looking out for you, and your family was okay off. And I feel like most of the time, like Christmas mornings were pretty good. I do have some people in my life, some friends of mine, who always got pretty lame gifts. I don't understand what was going on there. If people just weren't putting in the effort. But for the most part, you could expect to get at least one pretty cool gift on Christmas. Now, before your parents got out of bed, you might have been out in the living room looking at all the gifts under the tree, and you would always play the game of trying to like just look at the gift, size it up, be like, "Is that mine? Like, is that the one I wanted?" And you'd go through, you'd look at the tags, you'd shake the box. Lego was a dead giveaway. I remember always being so disappointed when I saw a big, beautifully wrapped box, and I'd go up, "Oh, this is going to be some awesome toy," and you pick it up and shake it, and it's just like, where it makes no sound. You're like, "It's closed. It's closed. Damn it. Put it at the back of the tree. We'll save it for last." And do you remember how you had to like act so happy when you got clothes for Christmas, like clothes you hadn't asked for? You're like, "It's a sweater. Yeah. Thanks. Just what I didn't ask for." But you couldn't say that. Like you couldn't show that level of ungratefulness. You had to be like, "Wow, hey, thanks." Christmas morning might have been your first experience with like faking it, like fake social mannerisms to get by, so you didn't offend people. And do you remember like when your disappointment was obvious, and your parents were like, "You say thank you for that," and you're like, "Thank you for the sweater." This ugly thing that is either like way too big or way too small. Yeah, I remember one year I got this big box. I thought it was going to be this huge like Lego castle or Lego ship or something, and I opened this big beautiful box, and it was just like it was from Sears or Hudson Bay. I saw the 3 stripes from Hudson Bay. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna suck." I lifted up the lid, saw it was closed, just immediately shut it. It's like, "Great, thanks." And my parents like, "You better look through all of them." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And pull out sweater, sweatpants, great. But at the bottom was a karate uniform, because I was doing karate that year, and I lost it. I think my karate uniform was the only time that I ever got clothes when I was super excited and super happy about it. Everything else was always a bust. I don't know, buying clothes for other people, hit and miss. It's usually a miss, especially if it was coming from your relatives, your older relatives. You know, God bless their hearts, they meant well, but usually didn't have the same style as you. Let's just put it that way. Now, I remember, um, I remember watching like the older people in my life. Like I remember watching the way my grandparents would open presents, and they were like so slow. Like, do you remember like how kids, like you give a kid a present, they're like, no, and paper flying everywhere. It's an Xbox. Parents weren't like that at all. Parents were like the medium. Grandparents, my grandpa would take like an hour to open a present. Just so he get. Brigetta, do you have some scissors? Some scissors. What do you need scissors for? You get nails, baby. You dig in. You know, but Brigetta, do you have some scissors? And he would just like sit there and he would cut the tape and he would just unwrap it so like carefully. He's like with such care. And I remember Grandpa, like, why do you do it so slow? He's like, well, you can reuse the wrapping paper. You can use it for next year. And I'm looking at like my shreds on the floor. It looks like it's been through a log splitter or a paper cutter or something like that. And there's no way we're reusing that next year unless we tape it together. But yeah, my grandparents, like, that was a different generation, right? Those were the people who went through a war, who went through the Great Depression, who went through the Dust Bowl on the prairies, where they didn't waste stuff, they saved stuff. And I bet your grandparents were probably very similar. It was totally different. And what's so funny now is that, like, now I'm in my 40s, and now I'm that guy. I'm like very slowly opening it, folding it. When I'm done with it, I fold it neatly and I go put it in the paper, like where we keep the wrapping paper and stuff for the gift wrap for next year. And it's so weird. I think Christmas is really, it's one of those amazing examples how one day you just wake up and realize that you have become the person who used to be the greatest mystery to you. How you were like, I will never understand that and I will never do that. And now you're like, I'm doing it hard, baby. And then you just do it for the rest of your life. And now your kids watch you and like, yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, so I'm saving the paper. And the cycle just continues. It's kind of funny how life works like that. I remember in my family, I don't want to throw my younger brother under the bus again, but well, I'm going to. I remember like sometimes like he would sneak out early, like he would like way earlier than the rest of us. I don't know what the heck time he got up at, maybe 3 o'clock. I have no idea. And he would like go out before us and like he'd do his own initial inspection of the presents. Because when me and my older brother would come out, some of them would be like partially unwrapped. Like, yeah, what the heck is going on here? It's like, who unwrapped the presents? So my younger brother's, I don't know. Wasn't me. You know, same wasn't me guy who didn't eat the Advent chocolates and didn't steal the Monopoly money during family game nights. I guess it wasn't him. Must have been someone else. I just always remember that was hilarious. That was like the great mystery of who unwrapped the presents already. Don't know. Couldn't tell you. Do you remember a Christmas where you got someone a gift that they really wanted? I remember one year I got my older brother this all metal cap gun. I think I was 7 years old. And most cap guns were plastic. This was an all metal one. It was like a 6-shooter, like an Old West Clint Eastwood style. And I remember him looking at it at the toy store and being so mesmerized by it. And I remember I got it for him that year. I went back to the toy store with my mom and I made her take me back there and I got him this cap gun. It was like, I think it was like $7.99, which was a fortune back then. But I remember like being so excited to give him this present. And I remember when he opened it, like how happy he was and how excited he was. And that was like such a moment between me and my brother. I know last week I talked about the time my younger brother got me like that Transformers Cheetor toy and how special that was to me. It was amazing to receive a present that was really meaningful from somebody, but it was also so awesome to be able to give somebody a present that was going to mean something to them, you know? And again, it's funny how things change because when I was a kid, I could never understand how getting a picture of your kid, like I remember like when you were a kid, one of your parents would be like, we're gonna give your mom a picture of all the boys. That's a pretty lame gift. And watching like when you would give that picture, like a family photo, to your mom or your dad or something, just watching them tear up and get choked up. I remember not being able to understand the psychology behind that. But again, as you get older and life flips, I remember like one of the most meaningful presents I got recently was my dad gave me a picture of my daughter, like me and my daughter when she was just 1 year old, and we were at the beach together. And it's just from the back, and it's me and it's my daughter and her little bald head because she was very slow to grow hair. I remember getting so choked up too and be like, holy cow, like what is going on with coming full circle in your life where you started experiencing all these things you never thought you would. And it's funny how many of them can be tied into Christmas and gift giving. It's like it all becomes obvious at this point of the year. It's kind of funny how that happens. All right. Speaking of gifts, here we go. This is the entire reason I wanted to make this episode. I wanted to tell this story for a long time, and here it comes. I remember one year, this was the craziest Christmas at my house. And I apologize in advance to the other two people who were in the story, because they're not stoked on it. But like I said, guys, love you. And it's only good fun now. And yeah, here we go. So I remember one year, I must have been like 13 years old. I guess I was 13 years old. My brother was 7. And I was always a big reader as a kid. I loved reading. My older brother loved reading. We read for fun. Like we would go to the library. Our mom would take us to the library and we would get out books because we enjoyed reading so much. And I remember like my younger brother, I was always trying to encourage him to read more. I was encouraging him to like do his homework and like apply himself in school and do well and succeed and all that stuff. And he just wasn't into reading the same way that me and my older brother were. So I was like, well, I bet if I got him a book for Christmas, something that he's really into, I bet that will get him reading. I think he'll enjoy that. So I got him a Star Wars book because if you're a Star Wars fan, you know they did the big extended universe thing. And they had, I don't know how many, dozens and dozens and dozens of great books out there. And I'd read some. And I thought, you know what? My younger brother likes Star Wars too. I'm going to get him the Star Wars book. And this is going to get him hooked on reading. And he's going to absolutely love this. And this is going to be a great gift. He's going to be super into it. He's going to love it. It's going to be awesome. So I get him this book. Christmas morning comes around. I'm so excited for my brother to open this book that I know he's going to love. And I'm watching him like pick up the book that's wrapped. It's a rectangle. And he's already like, he's looking at it and he's feeling it. He probably already felt it at 4 a.m. And he's feeling it. And this isn't shaking. I don't hear any sounds moving that sound promising here. And this is too small for clothes. What do we got here? And he starts peeling the cover off. And he opens it. He takes the wrapping paper off. And he looks at it, and it's a book. And he looks at me, and he goes, "You got me a book? I hate books!" And he takes it, and he hurls it across the room. And my dad is sitting on the other side of the room. He sees that. He gets up from his chair. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you think you're doing? And then he looks at me. You know he hates reading. What? What? Yeah. What are you doing getting him a book? That's a terrible present. Unbelievable. Couldn't believe it. And I was just like, I didn't know what to do. I thought he was joking. My dad's hilarious. He's got a great sense of humor. I thought he was joking. No, he was not joking. That was really low. I don't know if he really laid into me that hard, but like, it's like, I am shocked and disappointed at you. You know, I don't think he actually laid in that hard, but everything else, the whoa, 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 you know, he hates reading. Like, no issue with my brother hurling the book across the room. That's fine. But my gosh, Adam, you getting him a book? Out of line, son. Out of line. You're grounded. And that's funny. Like when we talk about this story, like my dad just kind of like, yeah, I said that. You know, he's like, he's not proud of it. My younger brother's like, why do you got to tell people that story? I'm like, well, because it's hilarious. It's just like, it's that weird sibling dynamic. It's that weird family dynamic. He was the younger brother. He kind of gets away with murder. I love that story. That's hilarious. It was one of those like weird Twilight Zone moments in your family where like, did that really happen? No, that really happened. And hey, I guarantee, as a dad myself, I'm going to do some weird stuff, you know, as my daughter gets older and stuff. I'm going to say stupid stuff. I'm going to do weird stuff. I'm going to look back and be like, what was I thinking? And I think for my dad, like that is that moment. I think every parent has at least a handful of those, probably way more. I feel like, what the hell was I thinking? That wasn't smart. That wasn't right. Anyway, all is forgiven. It's all in good fun. And I love that story. And ironically enough, my brother now actually does enjoy reading and grew up to be a pretty smart guy. It obviously wasn't because of the Star Wars book, obviously, but hey, he came to it on his own. So, as we come to the kind of end of this episode, the conclusion, I love to look back on Christmas and just think about like not only what it meant to us back then, but how much it taught us, right? What did Christmas teach us? It taught us how to act socially graceful in disappointing situations. It taught us how to be patient with our time, how to be sneaky, how to maybe like bend the rules just a little bit to give us a leg up on the competition, or help us figure out something that was very important to us. But back then, like, man, Christmas was so special. And I've been in a weird mood the last couple of days. I don't know what is going on, if it's just me or age or what. But I remember, like, just despite I've done everything this holiday season to try to get in the spirit. I put lights up. We decorated the inside of the house. I did meaningful things for people. I got people amazing gifts that I know they're gonna love. Their books. I've literally done everything. Um, and I just like, man, I just couldn't get in the mood. And then something hit me today, and I don't know what it was. And I hope this happens for you. It was this one shift. Sitting in Tim Hortons this morning, just having a coffee, reflecting on the fact that I wasn't in the Christmas spirit. And all of a sudden, this old school Christmas song came on the radio. I can't remember what it was. Boom, just like that. I was like, oh, there it is. It was like that one thing that clicked me into the season. And I'm so grateful that I got there. Because all of a sudden, like, once you feel that Christmas spirit, it's not what it was back then. But man, as adults, it's so beautiful when it still hits us. And I think like if you have children, it's a heck of a lot easier for it to happen because you can live vicariously through them. But I hope that this holiday season, I hope you're feeling the spirit. I hope you're spending time with friends and family. I hope you're making the effort, you know, because my mom said something the other day. She's like, I don't know, she's in her 60s, it doesn't look like it at all. It looks like she's in her 40s. But she's like, "Oh, I was just thinking, like, how many Christmases do I have left?" And it just boom, that was such a like sobering realization. And the truth is, none of us know. None of us know, right? So I think what I want to encourage people to do is don't waste this one. Don't let it go by and not make an effort for somebody. And don't let it go by and not make an effort for yourself. Pick up the phone, call someone that you want to talk to, that you haven't talked to in a long time. Reach out, make the effort. Someone invites you for Christmas dinner, go to that Christmas dinner. For the love of God, it's a free meal. Do the dishes. You know what I'm saying? Take that opportunity. Because really, my mom's question it hit me this morning. Nobody knows. None of us know. So don't waste this one. I want to wish everyone listening a very Merry Christmas. I know times have been tough for a lot of people lately in a lot of different ways. And I think when you look at people today, like, man, there's a lot of people carrying a lot of weight. So I really sincerely hope that this Christmas, you can just put it down, even for just one day. Spend time with the people that you love. Do something nice. Enjoy the simple things. Enjoy that cup of coffee. Enjoy that Christmas song that came on the radio or YouTube or whatever. And just enjoy the moment. Because really, that's all we ever have. Thanks for listening, and Merry Christmas.